Hello, welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. We just encountered some new witnesses, and I don't know, I feel like there's great potential for wackiness, and perhaps even a small chance of shenanigans. But we have a testimony to cross-examine, so let's get on that, shall we?
Hold it!
No time to change after work, you say? Are you also a member of the police, Mrs. Beat? Shoot, I forget what voice I was doing for her. Oh no, sadly not. It's a job for strapping young men only. Women, children, and the elderly can't even apply. Well, I think you can probably see why children and the elderly can't do the job, can't you? Yeah, child cops. It's kind of a weird thing. So I'm pretty sure you can be kind of old and still be a cop. I think Roy looks ever so handsome in his uniform. It suits you down the ground, doesn't it, darling? What? Ah, I just finished my beat. Pat and I were heading back to the station. I was actually planning on getting changed there. Is he talking in his sleep? This is creepy. Oh no, Rowley. I much prefer you in uniform. Sometimes I don't recognize you when I see you in plain clothes. Oh dear, that doesn't seem healthy. But kindly adhere to the point. You were going for a meal after you finished your beat for the day, correct? That's right, sir, yes. Although I was fit to drop, to be honest. After spending the whole day on my feet. But policing is my life, sir. As long as I'm the proud owner of this, I'll serve my city and my queen to the end. What's that now? My warrant card, sir. Proof that I'm a London copper. It has noble founding principles of the force written on it as a reminder to all us policemen of our sworn duty. To patrol the streets of London town and uphold the peace of the common man. Sir, and for just a noble cause, I cover 20 miles every single day without fail and without a grumble. Because I know that the clanking of my boots is all Londoners need to hear to feel safe and secure. So, fighting crime doesn't appear to come into it then. But sir, just on that one particular day, I was looking forward to celebrating my wedding anniversary. Oh, Mrs. Beat puts up with a lot being married to a bobby like me. I want to show my dear wife how much I care. Oh, Pat. Oh, Rowley. Oh, brother. Oh, okay, fine. Oh, what a charming couple. Their young love is such a joy to behold. If a little over the top, perhaps. And then, can you describe what happened next? Anyway, two silhouettes appeared out of the fog on the pavement in front of us. Two silhouettes? Oh, that's right. They were coming towards us, walking up Briar Road in the opposite direction. Okay, well, their silhouettes are kind of ominous. Oh, there was a rather plump figure, followed by a scrawny, thin-looking man. Well, that does sound exactly like the victim as pictured in this print, and like this anatomy. Oh, yes, unfortunately it does. And you're certain that at that time there was nobody else nearby? Oh, yes, quite certain. It was dark, but there are streetlights on Briar Road, you see. There was nobody else around at all. Isn't that right, my darling? Hmm? What? Oh, yes, that's right. Of course, there was like fog on the ground, but Briar Road is dead straight, and you could see a fairly long way down the pavement. And then there's a street light as well. I didn't see any, other pedestrians. The voice sleep takes a firm hold. Your answer, please, Mr. Beat. Are you quite sure of what you just said? Yes, sir. The carpenter spends all day, every day, keeping watch on the streets. I'd swear to it, sir. I'm as sure as my love for Patricia is true. Oh, Pat. Oh, Rolly. Oh. They're still maintaining there was no one else around other than the victim and the attacker. It's starting to seem like that must be how it really happened, unless they fucking did it. Who knows? Maybe they were in cahoots and they stabbed the lady and decided to blame it on the Japanese guy. It's a possibility. It's beginning to seem like there's nowhere to run. Well, that didn't stop Mr. Natsume, did it? He fled the scene all too convincingly. Hey, he ran away like a little bitch. Well, thank you. I believe we have a reasonably clear idea of the situation. Just before the incident now. What happened in the crucial moments that followed?
Hold it!
Scattered something? What do you mean by that? Oh, well, I couldn't quite make out what it was at the time. Oh, but then, when we got closer, we realized what it was. Didn't we, darling? What? Oh, yes, that's right. It was some old books. See, old books. Oh, you good? Yes, sir. The culprit had dropped a number of them, all round where the victim lay on the pavement. Indeed, as clearly pictured in the photograph print. Oh, that rotten Japanese man did that when he did the deed. Let's not forget that it remains to be established that the defendant was indeed the attacker. But we saw him. It was a man in the dock without question, sir. Oh, the mustache, the hunchback, the cat-like eyes, the taut mouth, the snub nose, everything. Any more insults you want to throw in? Jeez. Oh, that's right. He looked down at that poor defenseless woman with those terrifying, intense eyes, and then suddenly threw his books onto the pavement and ran away. Well, if he was so good at stabbing people and stuff while holding his books, why would he just drop his books? You know? Like, it seems like the books, were incriminating evidence. So why would he want to drop them in the first place? You know? I don't know why I'm so fucking worked up over some books, but still. I see. This is tough. They seem as though they're telling the truth here. May I remind the court that this unambiguous testimony comes from a policeman and his wife. Yeah, it's like Jordan Russell said, you can't trust coppers. Now please, continue. Yes, sir. Damn, passing out again. We ran straight over, of course, and then went for help at a nearby police box. Wow, they keep police in a box, just ready to go. So your husband, who went to fetch help? No, I went. I may not be the police officer myself, but I am the proud wife of one, after all. Isn't that right, my darling? What? Yes. Oh, that's right. I asked Mrs. Beat to go. I was off duty by that point. But Bobby's never truly off duty, of course. So I felt obliged to stay and guard the scene. Very laudable, Mr. Beat. Presenting the scene of a crime is a task of considerable importance. That's why I sent Patricia, you see. I told her where to find the right police box. Forgive my ignorance, but what do you mean exactly by the right police box? Well, it depends on the crime's location, you see, as to who deals with it. Where the woman was stabbed wasn't actually on my beat, so I told Patricia to wait to the police box for the beat the incident fell under so she could go and, report it. I ran there as quickly as I could and asked for help from the bobby on duty. There's nothing more potent than a young couple in love working together, you know? And thanks to your swift response, the case was quickly resolved. The actions of two model citizens. Oh, please! You're making us blush, isn't he, darling? Yes, sir. What Patricia said, sir. Out like a light. Out like a light. Let's move on, shall we?
Hold it!
But surely you wouldn't have been able to see his face by the light of the gas street lamps, would you? Oh no! Don't yank on the poor guy's scarf. That's very long, by the way. But I guess it is cold. Oh, we absolutely could. Us Londoners have exceptional eyesight, I'll have you know. Right. The light from the street lamps was more than enough. And my husband already told you that the fog was only light. Was only light, didn't he? Yeah. And what is the fog? We're famous for it across the globe, I believe. But it's not witness to those of us who have to live with it, of course. Oh, it is. But it's thick, you can't even say the hand at the end of your own arm. Yes, alright. I take your point. Now, could you stop shaking your husband about? Oh, the constant fog makes our eyes very sharp, you see? That's why we can tell you for sure and certain that it was that little Japanese man we saw. Can't we, darling? What? Oh, yes, it was the accused, and no mistake. The mustache, the hunchback, the cat-like eyes, the hot mouth, the snub... No... Oh, the unmistakable, sir. As far as this couple's testimony is concerned, there can't be any question. It was the Seki-san they saw running away from the scene of the crime, like he's already said that he did. So that's it, is it? That's their entire testimony? What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo? Well, I hate to admit it, but on hearing the testimony, it really does seem as though Mr. and Mrs. Beat saw what they say they saw. It's an Natsume running away from the scene on Briar Road that day. Yes, I feel the same. So, if that's true, where does it leave us? The members of the jury are sure to call for a guilty verdict after this testimony. Oh, no! So what do we do? I don't know, man. Fucking lie our asses off? Make them look uncredible? You know, lawyer tricks? If Kazuma-sama were here... What are you trying to say? I think he would try to find a contradiction somewhere else within their testimony. What do you mean, somewhere else? Their statement about seeing Mr. Natsume is unequivocal. Calling that into question won't help. But if he could identify some other part of their testimony which appears to contradict the facts, you might be able to discredit them. To make the Jowie, that's how you fucking say that. To make the jury doubt if the pair's memory of the day is accurate. Oh, right. Yeah, totally. Put simply, we must focus on finding a discrepancy in these statements somewhere. If we don't, I'm afraid the trial may reach an early and unfavorable conclusion. Why do I always seem to be so up against it? Man, it wouldn't be an Ace Attorney game if we weren't always up against it. Now would it, Naruhodo? Mr. Lawyer, sir, can I ask you something? Oh, yes, of course. Bro, I'm not the one being cross-examined. Just fucking mind your own business. What is it? Well, you keep asking us all these questions about everything we've told you, so... It seems like you don't believe my testimony. Is that right? Is it? Well, out with it. Bro, what the fuck are you doing? You can't use your fucking, husband as a shield. I'll kick both your asses. You think I'm afraid of some fucking sleepy boy and his dumb wife? What? No. Oh no. It's really not that at all. My husband's a policeman, remember? And I know what I saw. I remember every last detail. Everything. Oh, I know. What are the books the man dropped? I could tell you the name of every single one I could. Every single one. And you dare to question how reliable my testimony is? Jesus, calm the fuck down, lady. It ain't that serious. No, it won't do it all. God damn it. I'm gonna slit some fucking throats if someone doesn't start paying attention to me right now and believe in everything I say. Apparently. Alright. That Japanese lawyer has no idea what I'm capable of. Even if I decide to forgive him for insulting us, don't think for a minute that Rolly will. I really didn't mean to cause offense. Please, put your husband's fist down. Appease you? Oh, thank you, my lord. That would settle things nicely. Wouldn't it, darling? I don't know, man. He seems a little out of it. I mean, if you got more to say, then say it, pal. I could even tell you the names of the 4 books he dropped at the scene.
Hold it!
Well, fucking tell me. Yes. We know that there were books dropped at the scene of the crime, as you say. Those purchased by the accused at the nearby second-hand bookshop on the day in question. After I'd been to the police box for help, I decided to have a good look over the area for good measure. I am a proud policeman's wife, after all. I did it for Rolly. And, what was your husband doing at the time? Oh, he was lying face down in the snow, getting some well-deserved rest. He works ever so hard, you know? Ever so hard. Don't you, my darling? Interesting way of guarding the scene of the crime. Well, Miss Pete, seeing as we've regaled the court with tales of your powers of recollection, would you be so kind as to recount the titles of the books you observed at the scene? I'd be happy to. Now, are you all listening? There was the picture of Monsieur Somebody or Another, and, What's Its Yearnings. Then there was, A Meal for Someone, and the last one was definitely The Thin Gummies something. I'm pretty sure there was not a book called The Thin Gummies something. Come on, pal. I feel like you're yanking my chain now. Yes, I see there are 1 or 2 holes in your memory. Oh, well, they were along those lines, I'm quite sure. There were indeed books found at the scenes with titles along those lines, as you put it. Well, what did I tell you? So I think it's very mean the way you've been implying that my testimony can't be trusted. Don't you agree, darling? Oh shit, he's packing heat, yo. Anyone who upsets my Patricia would have me to answer to. Please don't shoot. I mean, come on. Terrifying. Yes, she really is. So that, okay, wait. God dang it. See, it was like autoplay. Oh no, like it's this same line again. Like, but I had to press every statement, I guess. I'm guessing I had to press every statement to unlock the ability to get that last statement, so. Oh well, let's see. Now let's double check something real quick, like 1, 2, 3. I don't see no fucking fourth book, lady. What are you on about, pal? The way, yeah, also this. There's 3 books. Not 4 books. 3 books. The Picture of Monsieur Lecoq, A Meal for Gabbro, Canterbury and Canterbury Yearnings. I didn't see no other 4th book. So,
Objection!
what's that about, lady? So, you're saying that there were 4 books? That's right! I remember all of them. The Picture of Monsieur Somebody, What's Its Yearnings, A Meal for Someone, and, The Thin Gummy Something. You lying little strumpet. I'm sorry, Mrs. Beat. But that's cap. But there's a fundamental flaw in that statement of yours. Oh no! What? What flaw? Simply that, at the scene of the crime, there were only 3 books, not 4! What? Have a good look at this photographic print of the scene of the crime. 1, 2, 3, no 4. Not 4 things, no 4 bookies. That's not cool. As you can clearly see, there are only 3 books. But, no! No, that can't be! I saw them! Oh, I know what it is. Yes, you can't fool me. Sorry. It's that big old lump of a dead body. The lady's so large, her corpse is blocking the view of the 4th book, that's all. Let's at least try to remember that the poor woman isn't dead, even if we're insulting her size. No, I'm sorry, Mrs. Bede. But that's also cap. But Mr. Matsume could not have possibly have dropped the 4 books that you describe. Well, why not? Fascinating. And from your assured tone, something you can readily substantiate with evidence, I presume. Evidence. That thing that you need in a courtroom. Counsel, you will present evidence to substantiate your claim or withdraw it. What proof do you have that the accused did not drop 4 books? Well, it has to be this second-hand book receipt, which accounts for only 3 books, not 4. The evidence is right here, in the form of this bookshop receipt. From your books. Yes, this receipt details Mr. Natsume's purchases that day. But as you can see, only 3 books are listed. No! Therefore, Mr. Natsume would have only dropped 3 books at the scene of the crime. Which means that your powers of observation, madam, cannot be relied upon. Gah. So it cannot be denied that though you say it was the defendant you saw, you could very well be mistaken. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! No!
Objection!
It's plainly evident that it is your powers of deduction that cannot be relied upon, my learned Nipponese friend. What? What the fuck are you talking about, pal? What cannot be denied is that these two witnesses saw the accused running from the scene, a fact that you know very well you have no hope of disproving. Ah! So you've striven to avert attention from that by dint of some inconsequential discrepancies. Would that be, fair? He sees right through me. But your plan has somewhat recoiled against you. What are you talking about? It's quite simple. Let me explain with a toast. To the policeman's wife and her entirely accurate testimony in every respect. Oh! You see, the matter is not up for debate. At the scene on Briar Road, a total of 4 books were most definitely found. But what about the photographic print? It only shows 3 books. Quite right. Only 3 can be seen in that print. That print? You mean to say... How do you throw it backwards like that? Jeez. Such good aim. Allow me to present another, one that shows the victim's hand. I don't believe it. Hey, wait a second. That's the Lion's Pride. Ain't that the book that Mr. Garrett lost in the fire of 87? It's the 4th book. As you will observe, the 4th book was hidden from view in the original print by the victim's torso. No! No! Come on! No! Jeez, pal. Order! Order! There! You see? You see? Look at that! Look, look, look! Yes? It's just like I said, isn't it, my darling? Yes, sir. Patricia's always right, sir. Let us study the receipt for the books purchased by the accused on the day in question. Mrs. Beat, the titles once again, if you please. Oh, yes, of course. The picture of Monsieur Somebody or other. The picture of Monsieur Lecoq. What's its yearnings? Canterbury yearnings. A meal for someone? A meal for Gabbro, in fact. As the court has just heard, the witness remembers the book titles flawlessly, save for a few minor details. I would say more than minor. I mean, I guess the general spirit of the thing is correct. But, I mean, it's still not right. Like, if it was a game show, and we were like, hey, remember those 3 books you saw, she would lose all 3 times. So, I feel like that's debatable. Mrs. Beat's powers of recollection can only be described as exceptional. Oh, did you hear that, Rolly? The gentleman paid me a compliment. Yes, sir. Flawless, sir. Patricia is flawless. But there are only 3 books on the receipt, and Mrs. Beat mentioned 4. There's nothing surprising about that. Clearly the 4th is that which is shown in this photographic print. I'm sorry, counsel, but does that not seem odd? Why should the 4th book be omitted from the receipt? It's not odd at all, my lord. As the photograph clearly shows, the 4th book was found in the victim's clutches. In other words, it belongs to the victim. The victim was holding her own book? I wonder what became of that 4th book. Obviously, it wasn't overlooked by the investigating officers at Scotland Yard. I have it here as evidence. You will submit that, and the aforementioned photographic print to the court, please, counsel. My pleasure, my lord. Well, I guess that clears up the book discrepancy. The prosecution rests. I have nothing further to add. What? You seem surprised, my learned friend. But your resistance until now has been in vain. Entertaining, yes, but futile. The spurious longer route to the accused's lodgings that you tried to establish in your summation examination, and the attempted discrediting of the witness's powers of recollection in your cross-examination. Futile? I walked right into this, didn't I? You see? Everything we said is true. Isn't that right, my darling? Yes, Pat. Marry me, Pat. So, perhaps the ladies and gentlemen of the jury would like to reconsider their positions. Should the court waste any more time on this Nipponese travesty? Or is the decision you have to make all too apparent already? You have heard all of the witnesses and seen all of the evidence. This trial has run its course! Mr. Naruhodo, I'm afraid we are in a terribly precarious position. I know, but if I fight back in the wrong way now, I could very well just make matters worse. Think, Ryunosuke, think. What do you do now? Raise an objection?
Objection!
I'm not done yet. No, my learned friend. It's over. That last cross-examination was your final chance to establish a credible defense. And you failed. The die has been cast. There is no more room for debate. Well, it might be over as far as you're concerned, but... Arg, I can't think of what to say. If I may, Lord Van Sykes, it seems somewhat boorish to close down the debate at this point. Your insignificant little Eastern Isle must be a lawless hole indeed. For a lowly judicial assistant to have the audacity to intervene at a moment like this. Oh. I am, to my shame, still a very inexperienced lawyer. So you will have to forgive me, but I consider my assistant's advice essential and her opinions invaluable. Mr. Naruhodo! One of this lad's great guiding principles is tolerance. So, the court will hear you, madam. Go ahead, Mrs. Otto. Please. Please, help bail me out. I need it. Very well. Pray, what insight can you give us? What have we all overlooked in this matter that you see fit to pursue further? Well, the court has been presented with new evidence, but only after the last cross-examination finished. I see. And you believe that this new evidence warrants further examination, do you? Mr. Naruhodo, what do you think? It's just possible that this new evidence might be the decisive proof we've been waiting for. The judge is sure to ask the members of the jury to announce their leanings in a moment. And of course, he's sure to ask you to explain what the crucial piece of evidence is, and why. So we must take this opportunity to examine the newly presented evidence as thoroughly as possible. Yes, I understand. And thank you, Mr. Zato. This is it. Zato-san has managed to win us one last chance here. I can't let it go to waste. The defense wishes to present evidence, my lord. Yeah, maybe I should check it out real quick, like. Okay, so yeah, like I said, that's the Lion's Pride. And then there's this book that called The Lion's Pride. That's seemingly, yep, no, it's definitely half charred and burnt. Maybe you can't find anything out of place. I thought it was highlighted. Yeah, there we go. Let me see. It's a book entitled The Lion's Pride. I'm afraid I don't know any English literature at all, so it wouldn't be something I've heard. Wait a minute. The Lion's Pride? That's strange. I think I have heard of a book by that name before. And very recently, too. Yeah, that was Mr. Garadeb's, favorite book. It's a title I recognize, too, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, look at this. The book has been badly burnt. You're right. You'd never be able to read it in this state, especially not the latter pages. Oh, what a terrible waste. Judging from the scorched edges of the paper, I think the damage must have occurred very recently. A book. Recently damaged by fire. Why does that seem to raise a red flag with me? Curious indeed. Very well. The defense may present one further piece of evidence. Evidence that apparently offers a profound insight into this case and has hitherto been overlooked. Have I examined this knife, by the way? I don't recall if I have. Oh, look here, Mr. Naruhodo. Just at the tip. A small piece of the blade appears to be missing. Ah, you're right. Well spotted, Mrs. Zato. I wonder what could have happened to it. Yes. You don't think it could still be lodged in the victim, do you? Oh dear, I do hope not. That sounds terribly painful. That is rather curious. But no, it's this book. The evidence in question is what we can see from the newly presented photographic print of the crime scene. The fourth book, found in the victim's hand.
Objection!
We have already discussed the fourth book at length. Other than it being in the victim's grasp at the time of the incident, no significance has been attached to it. Pursuing the matter further would be a flagrant waste of the court's time, as you well know. Yes. I'm afraid, counsel, I must concur with the prosecution on this matter. When I afforded you this opportunity, you led the court to believe that the evidence in question contained a hitherto undiscovered clue. So I must insist that to elaborate, counsel, you will identify this clue at once. Do I make myself clear? Oh, yes, my lord. It's, Mr. Naruhodo. I believe the prosecution is trying to avoid a thorough examination of the evidence. Which means, you may very well be on the right track. Yes, I think you might be right. So, counsel, precisely where is the vital clue to this case, which this fourth book conceals? Well, it's gotta be, this.
Got it!
Got it! I would ask the court to observe the back of the book in question. The back? What do you... Well, good gracious! It's been burnt to a crisp! What does it mean, burnt to a chip? So, we have to ask ourselves, why was the victim clutching what is clearly an unreadable book? It is undeniably an extremely unnatural thing for her to have been doing.
Objection!
Unnatural, you say? And what of it, my Nipponese friend? Oh. Were I to concede the point, if it bears no relation to the case, there is nothing to discuss. So, should you wish to assert that this fire damage is some veiled clue as to what happened that day, pray, do enlighten us all. What truth does this child's book hide? A charred book. There is just one possibility here, which I can't quite bring myself to rule out. It's an outside chance, certainly, but worth a try. Well, alright. I'll explain my theory, my legal theory. Don't keep us anything any longer then, Counsel. Explain this theory of yours. What are you suggesting that you can ascertain from the fire damage this sorry toad has suffered? Well, it's not the shop that sold it, I don't believe. I don't believe it's the content. But I'm curious what it's actually about. Or its owner. Okay, well, you know what? I just want to see what happens if we click content, because I'm curious to see what the book is actually about. My lord, the burn on the back of this book reveals a startling truth about the book's content. What on earth do you mean? To have enraged his reader to the point of burning it, we can be quite sure that this book is a dreadful read. yeah, it's shitty. Indeed. That's right. A dreadful read. A valid conclusion. Oh, good. Everyone seems to agree. Maybe I'm onto something here. If I may, Mr. Naruhodo, I most certainly cannot agree. No, you're right. A copy of the Lion's Pride that just recently... Okay, damn, you gave me the penalty, Sasato? Come on, pal. Okay, well, obviously, yeah, it's the owner. It belongs to the Gyarados. My lord, the burn on the back of this book reveals a startling truth about the book's owner. Beg your pardon? But, we already know who the book belongs to. The victim was gripping it in her hand as she fell to the floor after all. It's obviously hers. The question of how this book came to be in the victim's hand has yet to be answered. However, as to the questions of who the book really belongs to and where it originated, the defense has very credible answers. Oh, good gracious, how can you possibly? Very well. I'll play along with this futile attempt to delay your inevitable demise. But do remember, the members of the jury may well ban you if your little gamble goes awry. Counsel, defense's response is very likely to influence the final outcome of this trial. So tell the court, who do you claim was the owner of this burnt book? Let's see. Let's see.
Take that!
Oh, obviously, okay, it's just scared him. Sorry, I was just giving you guys some suspense for no reason. The answer is that the book belongs to the couple who own the house where the defendant has his lodgings. Asserted Mr. and Mrs. Gyarados, the landlords. And whether this is some extraordinary coincidence or some kind of fate at work, I don't know, but Of all the people in London, one of the 6 chosen for jury duty in this courtroom today is none other than Mrs. Garradeb herself. Oh my goodness! Me? I think you must be mistaken, sir. I'm not Mr. Garradeb's wife. I'm his maid. Seems to be so much easier if you just drop the pretense. Alright then, how about a simple question for you? Have you ever seen this book in Mr. Garradeb's house? I would never presume to know all of the books he keeps, sir.
Objection!
This is outlandish behavior. This woman is the accused's landlady, you say? You implicate this hard-working member of the public. You besmirch her without a shred of evidence. Your actions are unforgivable.
Objection!
This is not mere conjecture. The defense happens to know that on the day in question, at almost exactly the same time as the victim was stabbed on the pavement below, another incident was taking place in the room on the top floor of Mr. and Mrs. Garradeb's house. Oh, good lord! What sort of incident, counsel? Well, a bit of domestic violence, as you know. Oh, a fire, yeah, well that too. But fire, my lord! Yeah, afraid to say it was. Happened in the blink of an eye, you know? The old place filled with smoke. Couldn't see a bloody thing. It didn't take long for the fire to spread, of course, and the body furniture started going up as well. Worst of it is, I lost my favorite. The book called The Lion's Pride, you see. Oh shit, he's looking kind of sweaty. Okay, maybe not sweaty, but he's looking kind of stressed. The Lion's Pride. By Jove! The very same title as the subject of this debate! Oh, dear me!
Objection!
This is risible! All you told the court is that a book by the same name was involved in a fire, in which case it would be reasonable to assume that it was burnt to ashes. And entirely unreasonable to infer that it magically removed itself to the scene of the crime. Perhaps it would make more sense if I told you that the cause of the fire was, marital discord. Without going into details, it appears that Mrs. Garradeb was considerably enraged. Apparently, she continued to attack Mr. Garradeb, even amid the flames. Oh, how awful! I can't even imagine being so horrid to the ones you love. Can you, Rolly? Says the lady who uses her husband as a shield and, like, swings him around by the neck. Absolutely not, sir. My Patricia would never raise a finger against me, sir. I mean, it wasn't that bad of a fire. It could have been a lot worse. Had all my favorite old novels in that case, but as soon as fire got hold of them, that was it. Whoosh! Up in smoke. Oh, there's my wife started hurling things at me. Oh man, the wife struggles be like... there I was, back up against the window, under heavy enemy fire. Incendiary books and coming 10 to the dozen. The man had his back up against the window, and he had burning books thrown at him. Goodness gracious. Are you suggesting that the book was thrown through a window and landed coincidentally at the scene of the crime?
Objection!
No. A thorough investigation of the surrounding area was conducted the very evening of the incident, and there is no report of the Garradeb's window pane being broken. That's quite true. We also saw no sign of broken glass when we visited the Garradeb household. But is it not conceivable that the window was open at the time and... Not even remotely! Let us not forget the season and the chilling weather that accompanies it. No Londoner would ever leave a window open in the middle of winter. Does the defense postulate the scenario in all seriousness, counsel? Do you earnestly claim that the book found at the scene of the crime was a flaming projectile thrown by Mr. Garradeb's wife? It's possible. I believe it's a possibility, my lord. quite enough. Who's that? Oh, it's her. Well, I hope that everyone can see what you are, you little foreign trickster. You call yourself a lawyer, but you're just a coward. A mean coward. Really? Claiming that our little tiff set the whole neighborhood alight. Honestly. Implying that I'm merely posing as a maid for appearance's sake. How could you? It's nothing to do with this beastly case. Not any of it. All you've done is sully our family's name. No, I assure you that was never my intention. Dragging an upstanding citizen's name to the mud simply to divert attention from your failing defense. I should box your ears, that's what I should do. It's utterly unforgivable. Ah, too right. Here we go. How long have we sat here now? Listen to this Nipponese spouting out his fancy foreign theories. But think about it. At the end of the day, the only person who could have possibly stabbed the victim is that little hunchback with the mustache. And he ran away from the scene too. I do declare you're right. Well, it's true. Yes. What did I tell you? Makes sense to me. Sorry. What's that? Well, it would appear that the ladies and gentlemen of the jury are once again in full agreement. What is your position, Lord Van Zykes? Don't be drinking from your hallowed chalice in a court of law. You and your fucking hallowed chalice. In truth, my lord, I feel these have been unnecessarily protracted proceedings. But then one must always exercise patience in order to savor the best vintage. No! Wait! The mystery of the fourth book still hasn't been... Oh shit, he objecting with his leggy again. Jeez, that's really stylish. Those are some nice shoes. I'll give you that, pal. If books are your predilection, my learned friend, study them on your own time. You gonna just keep your leg up there the whole time? What? No, forgive the discourtesy this time. Okay, I'm glad you identified that as one of his catchphrases. Ahem. In that case, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will now state your individual decisions regarding the witness culpability for the court to hear.
Guilty!
Oh, come on.
Guilty.
Come on.
Guilty.
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 Guilty. See, she has a deeper voice than I expected, so that's why I went with like a deeper voice when I was saying her lines. Also, that's bad. You guys suck. You're like the worst jury ever. I'm not gonna hang out with any of you guys. Fuck you. Thank you for that unambiguous response. That's twice now. It's over. Mr. Naruhodo, don't give up. Miss Sasato, have you forgotten? The battle isn't over yet. You're not suggesting. Of course. The defense has the right to another summation examination, cross-examination, deprecation, affiliation, independence in our nation at this point. You could still convince the jurors to change their minds. You have one more chance. My lord, the defense asks to exercise its right to a summation examination. You believe you still have tricks up your sleeve? But my learned Nipponese friend, didn't you hear? Tricks are for kids. I don't intend to trick anybody. I intend to uncover the truth. This is no time to be downcast. As long as there's a chance, I have to stay strong and determined. Hey, it's my right, man. I have the right to a summation examination. Hey, look at that. To be continued. And a perfect time for me to cut this episode off. I like when we have the nice clean endings instead of me having to like do it like in the middle of something, you know. Oh boy, things are getting spicy. Those witnesses are funny. I'll give them that. I'm curious. Well, I do wonder though, like, if she was throwing books, if Mrs. Garrett was throwing books out the window. Yeah. Okay. Well, obviously there's still more stuff to figure out because, yeah, how did they? But yeah, if the window wasn't open, then how would the books got thrown out? without the window being broken, you know? Among other things. But hey, we got a submission examination to fuck with, so, I'm sure we still got a while to go in this trial, I imagine. But yeah, next time, though, we will begin that in earnest. But until then,